Right. Thinker, what could be done to advance Ummah into philosophical thought, I take it. Well, Thinker, I don't know if I don't, it's not the Ummah's goal to become philosophers. Um, and quite honestly understood that, look, humanity for the most part will not be philosophers. And they won't even be, unfortunately, deep thinkers. And I guess that's okay because I guess we are who we are, right? Not everybody has to be a polemicist or a philosopher or a. I don't think people can as well. I don't think people have the capacity. There was it was a great, it's a great book by what's his name? I think his name's is it Howard Gardner, and it's on multiple intelligences, and he's on YouTube as well, and he's got a bunch of different lectures. He's got some TED talks and stuff, and it's really fascinating because he's speaking about multiple intelligences, and that up until not so long ago, we measured people's intelligence by two things really. One was linguistic ability, linguistic intelligence, and one was mathematical stroke logical intelligence. So how people solve problems, whether it's going to be mathematical or through shapes and patterns, and that falls under that. And then linguistic, words, how they picked out words, how they could do um how. So this was how you measured, and he goes on to argue that actually there's many intelligences, whether there's going to be eight. I think in the book he may focus on eight, but in some of his talks he may say, look, there may be 10, there may be more, it doesn't matter, it's not about numbering them out, and he'll highlight what they are. Some of them, I mean, these, like, there'll be things like bodily kinesthetic intelligence, so how you can do certain things with with your body, as in skills, like how you may have certain craftsmanship. That is an intelligence. He says musical intelligence is a totally separate intelligence. It's really fascinating how he brings out several intelligences, how a pedagogical intelligence is a separate intelligence, how you can teach something. So they had studies on kids as young as 3-4 year olds, as young as that, who, when they try to explain to kids that are their age or younger than them, they go into so much more detail than if they're trying to explain to a grown-up the same thing. Like, let's say a 4 or 5 year old was doing something and now they're telling you how to do it. If they were telling an adult, they would just say, yeah, just do this and then do that. Like, because they would understand that the adult. But if they were explaining, let's say a 5-year-old was explaining to a 3-year-old, he would go into more detail because he or she would know that this child needs more explanation, and the ability to teach, this pedagogical intelligence, is a different kind of intelligence. Not everybody knows how to teach. See, people understand things, most people struggle in explaining them to other people. Another good intelligence that he highlights is you have interpersonal intelligence, how good you are with other people's skills, how good you are in reading people, how good you are in convincing people, how good you are in, and people use that to manipulate. People use that. All leaders need that. All kinds, whatever kind of a leader, whatever kind of somebody who tries to guide people must have very good people skills, this interpersonal skills in convincing people. Now, you could use it for the wrong. You could, a salesman to con people. See, he has good interpersonal skills. He can convince someone. And then he highlights intrapersonal skills within yourself. The ability to introspect, look within, is a form of intelligence. Then he speaks of existential intelligence, people who can grasp the great big questions, that can tackle them in life, that can think about the ultimate purposes. Many people may not have that intelligence, that they're no good at that, but they may be good at something totally different. They may be somebody. So there's a lot of these things. Yeah. I would argue, although I think when I was going through his stuff, he doesn't agree with humor as being an intelligence, but I think considers it as part of the linguistic. But I would feel that humor is a separate intelligence, that we all have it, but not as good as necessarily each other. And I feel that some people would have, they would be more intelligent from a humor perspective than other people. And you see it with kids. Some kids just have a very good sense of humor since they're kids, sense of sarcasm. I see it in Layla. She's now 10. I see this sarcasm, and some adults don't get sarcasm properly. So all of these things are very important in life, and we have to. And then there's a good question: should you invest in all of them, or should you just hone in on the ones you're good at? And I guess that's a debate. There was a very good post I saw once on Instagram, I think it was, where it said something that if you have trained your child how to handle business or be enterprising and see opportunity, like be commercially minded, and how to save money, and it says, if like great attributes from a worldly secular, from not secular, from a commercial perspective. Said if you've taught your child all of these things, like what business term means and how the stock market runs, or how, if you've taught your child things way ahead of normal children and many adults, but you haven't taught them how to handle emotions, or to handle a heartbreak, or how to read people, he said that then you haven't taught them how to succeed in life, because these things are the real things that will make or break people. They could be really good. I mean, not to belittle the other things. It's really great, giving your children a super head start with a business acumen. But if you haven't taught them these very essentials, then they're going to be in for a rough ride. Yeah, may Allah bless each and all. Ameen.